When people pick up a history book or even the Bible and they hit a wall of names, numbers, and rosters, the instinct is usually to skim or just skip it entirely.
Oh, absolutely. It's the eyes glaze over effect. You see a genealogy or a census list, and you think, okay, this is just administrative data. Where's the action?
Exactly. But today we are looking at First Chronicles, specifically chapters 23 through 25. And on the surface, it looks like a massive HR spreadsheet. But if you actually dig into what King David is doing here, it feels less like a census and more like a massive corporate restructure before a CEO steps down.
That is the perfect way to describe it. This is a pivotal moment. David is old, full of days, as the text says. He knows he's not going to build the temple. That's for his son Solomon. But David isn't just sitting around. He's obsessed with ensuring that when the doors open, the organization is ready to run.
So let's talk about the scale of this workforce. We aren't talking about a few dozen priests lighting candles.
Not even close. David gathers the Levites, the tribe responsible for religious duties, and counts the men 30 years and older. The total? 38,000.
38,000 people. That is a small city.
It's a staggering number. And here is where the restructure comes in. For generations, the Levites' main job was logistics. They were movers. They carried the tabernacle, the tent, through the wilderness. But David realizes something profound. God has given Israel rest. The temple is going to be a permanent building in Jerusalem.
Right? You don't need movers if the house never moves.
Exactly. So you have thousands of strong men whose job description just became obsolete. David has to repurpose an entire workforce. He assigns 24,000 to oversee the work of the house, 6,000 as officers and judges, and 4,000 as gatekeepers.
It's fascinating that he didn't just fire them or let them drift. He integrated them into the civil and religious life of the nation. But then we get to my favorite group, the 4,000 musicians.
Ah, yes. Chapter 25. This isn't just a choir, it's a state-sponsored conservatory.
It really is. The text mentions instruments David specifically made for praise, and he organizes them under three main directors, Asaph, Heman, and Jeduthun. But there's a phrase in there that caught my eye. It says they were to prophesy with lyres and harps.
That stops you in your tracks, doesn't it? We usually think of prophecy as speaking words, predicting the future, or giving a warning. But here, music is the prophecy. It suggests that the art itself was a form of spiritual communication. It wasn't just background noise for the sacrifices, it was theological work.
And the structure of it was so detailed. You have 288 master musicians, the experts, training the rest.
Teacher and student alike, the text notes. It's a mentorship program. David was building a legacy of skill, ensuring the music didn't die out with the current generation.
Now, speaking of organization, we have to talk about how they decided who worked when. Because with thousands of people, everyone wants the prime shifts, right? Everyone wants to work the high holidays.
That's human nature. And that's where chapter 24 comes in with the priests, the sons of Aaron. You have the lines of Eleazar and Ithamar. There were more leaders in Eleazar's line, so the math was uneven.
So how do you solve that without causing a civil war among the clergy?
You cast lots.
Which sounds a lot like gambling to modern ears.
It does, but in that worldview, the lot was how you removed human bias and let God decide. It was the ultimate anti-nepotism policy. They created 24 divisions, or shifts. It meant that whether you were a prominent family or a smaller one, your service time was dictated by the divine lot, not by political maneuvering.
It's incredibly democratic in a strange way, and it implies that order is a form of worship.
That is the core theme here. David is teaching Israel that holiness isn't chaotic. It's structured. Whether it's the gatekeepers guarding the storehouses or the musicians tuning their harps, everything has a place.
It makes me think about the difference between David and Solomon. We always credit Solomon for the temple because he built the stone walls.
Right. Solomon built the hardware. But David built the software. He wrote the code that made the system run. Without these chapters, without this organization of the priests, the Levites, and the musicians, Solomon's temple would have just been an empty building.
That's a powerful thought. You can build a magnificent structure, but if you don't have the people and the processes in place, it's dead on arrival.
Precisely. And look at the humility in it. David spends his final days organizing a roster for a building he will never step foot in. He's setting up a success that he won't get to see.
That's the definition of legacy, isn't it? Planting trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit.
It is, and it challenges us too. Are we building systems that can outlast us? Or is our work dependent on our constant presence? David chose the former. He turned a nomadic tribe into a permanent institution.
A corporate restructure that lasted for centuries. It really changes how you read those lists of names.
It certainly does. Every name on that list was a person given a purpose in a new era.
Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. It's a reminder that sometimes the most boring parts of history, the lists and the numbers, are actually where the civilization is built.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next episode. God bless.